This is the latest Wi-Fi 7 access point to hit Ubiquiti's lineup. This is the U7 Lite. It has Wi-Fi 7 built into it, and the best part is it only costs $99. So in this video, we're going to take a look, we'll get it set up, we'll get it tested, and see how well it works. But first, let's go and unbox this. So we have the standard pull tab across the top that we've come to see on all the devices, and I do have a U6 Lite here right next to me as well, so we'll compare this size for size to see what it looks like. And this is the U7 Lite, so it comes with the nice cover on the front of it to keep it protected while you're getting it installed. We have the screw holes for the template, we have a suspended ceiling mount, which we can use the screws for, and we have this part that comes with, which you can get it screwed into the wall or ceiling, and then get it mounted in and get it connected. Not sure if you can read that there, but that is a PoE in and a 2.5 gigabit uplink. So this does have a 2.5 gigabit uplink on it. We've come to see with all their U7 lineup. And the last bit, which I didn't show you, this has the bunch of screws and plugs and everything you need to get connected, and the ejector tool should you ever need to remove it from the ceiling. Now, I'm not going to do a performance test between the two, but if you can have a look between them, you'll see that the U7 version is ever so slightly bigger. This is the U6 Lite and this is the U7 Lite, so it's ever so slightly bigger in size. But one thing I will tell you, if you're looking to replace the U6 Lite with the U7 Lite, these are the two brackets and you can see they're exactly the same, so you don't need to change the bracket. If you don't need to, you can swap that straight out. However, I would say if you want to, do swap the bracket out to the latest one, and it does have the nice new fancy logo on the front of it. Let's now take a look at the specs of the U7 Lite, and it comes in at $99. It has Wi-Fi 7 but no 6 gigahertz built into it, so it does 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. It has one 2.5 gigabit uplink. It has 4 spatial streams. You can connect 200 plus devices to this, 2x2 in terms of MIMO for 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz, wall or ceiling mounting options, and it covers 115 square meters. And what we're going to do in a little bit later on in this video is we're going to get it mounted up here, get it set up, get it tested, and we'll use the 4 different locations in my house that I've done in previous videos to see what sort of speed and performance we are getting. No doubt on the same floor I'm definitely going to get a good performance, but let's take it a little bit further away and see how well it fares. I've already gone ahead and adopted this, and you can do this with the web interface or the mobile app. I've done this in multiple videos multiple times, so feel free to scroll through another one and have a look at how that's done. We have the U7 Lite set up just here, and I've actually popped it on a pole just above me, and there'll be a bit of B-roll popping up now showing you that. But that's actually set up there ready for me to do some testing. So we have that similar to sort of how you would have it set up in a house. You'd have it connected to a ceiling or a wall of some sort. I already have one device connected to it, so the Pixel 8 that I'm going to be testing with this. And if I click on that, you can see it's using Wi-Fi 7. And then we can go across to the settings and I'll show you what I've got set on here. So we've done the channel width at 40 for the 2.4 gigahertz and 11 for the channel. And then down below, we'll leave the transmit power as auto for the time being. For the 5 gigahertz spectrum, I've gone with 160 megahertz width. I've left the transmit power to auto, and I'm using channel 36 as the channel. And that's it with the U7 Lite. There isn't really too much with the settings or configuration to be done. So let's go and put this to the test straight away. You might have seen this picture before where I do some testing around the house. So let me just explain it and break it down what I'm quickly doing. So I'm running 4 different tests in the house, one in the same room. So the access point is mounted just above me. And then I have a test 2, which is the furthest room on the same floor, and then we have test 3, which is directly below, and then we have test 4, which is the furthest point of the house, so we can see what sort of signal, what sort of speed we're getting in that area. Roughly where the test 1 is approximately where this is mounted in the room, so it's more further to this side than it is on the other side of the room. If I bring up the results for test 1, so the 3 tests I generally run is we have a look at the throughput test with the WiFiman app, and at the top of it you can see the band. It's using the 5 gigahertz frequency at 160 megahertz width, the channel signal minus 36 dBm, which I'm in the same room, so you'd expect it to be quite high, and then what the sort of physical speed is megabits per second. In terms of the throughput to the UDM Pro Max, you can see it's 705 megabits per second. In terms of the download and upload speed, I'm getting 700. I'm getting near gigabit speeds in terms of download, which is great, perfect for what I need. And I'm running an open speed test server where on this machine I have next to me, which is running the open speed test, these are the sort of upload and download speeds I am getting. So I'm not going to run through all the results of all of these, but feel free to stop at any point in terms of getting the results that you want to look at. If you want to look at the band frequencies or anything like that, you can see test 2 coming up now. And that gives me about 500 megabits per second down and 300 megabits per second up in terms of the open speed test. and a very similar results, maybe a little bit less on the upload with the normal internet speed test. Test 3, still getting some really good results here. So 800 megabits per second throughput to the UDM Pro Max, and then 600 megabits per second download speed and 100 megabits per second upload speed. But the open speed test, again, I'm getting near gigabit speeds. Now, one thing I will add on at this point before we move into test 4 is Wi-Fi is very subjective and it depends on the area you're in, what sort of congestion you have and any frequencies that you get. So your results might differ from what I have here, but this is just giving you a rough understanding as to what I'm getting currently. And then finally, we move to test 4, where we move into the furthest point and we see the signal band drop to 2.4 gigahertz. As we know, 5 gigahertz doesn't go as far as 2.4 gigahertz, and it's now pushed to the 2.4 banding. So we still have minus 72 dBm, which is okay. It's not the greatest signal, but it's still a reasonable amount of signal. And in terms of speed, I'm getting roughly 33 megabits per second down and 2 megabits per second up, which is not bad. It will allow me to browse the internet, download something small that I need to. It will allow me to do some of those basic tasks. Now, this is the entry-level access point, and I will add this is only $99. So for what I'm getting, near gigabit speeds in the same room, and I'm still able to get signal across the other side of my house, I would be perfectly happy with this. In terms of the open speed tests, we're getting 45 megabits per second and 20 megabits per second upload. So it gives you a rough idea as to what's going on in terms of the physical network. Now, let me just quickly show you the topology that I have, just so you can see what sort of setup I have and the sort of connectivity that I have. So we have the U7 Lite down here, which we're connected to the Flex 2.5 PoE, which is running at 2.5 gigabits per second. We then have the Flex going to the aggregation, which is running at 10 gigabits per second. And then we have the aggregation going to the UDM Pro Max. Again, a DAC cable running at 10 gigabits per second. So that is the throughput test that's running when we go from our device all the way up through the chain to your router itself. Now, chances are I might get a slightly better speed if I plug straight into the UDM Pro Max, but that's not the point of this. We want to be testing this as it would be set up in an environment. Before we conclude this video, I want to run a quick test on here in terms of the thermal. So I've been running this for a little while and it feels fairly warm to touch. So if I bring my laser here, we'll have a quick look at the front and we can see somewhere around here we're 37, 40, 41, 42, I think I saw that hit at the most, yeah, 43. So it's quite warm in this corner up here. And then if we flip this over, it is quite warm again to touch. And if we have a quick look on here, we can see we've got 50, I think we got to 48 there. So 48 degrees C. And for those of you that use Fahrenheit, we're looking at around about 120 Fahrenheit at the maximum. One thing I will add is it's been sat in this room the whole time and it is very warm with all the lights and everything in here. So the ambient temperature is generally a lot warmer in here than it would be in, say, for example, a hallway or in another room or a wall that it would be attached up against. So what makes this AP really special? Well, there's a few things. It's Wi-Fi 7. It has 2.5 gigabit connectivity. You're getting gigabit or near gigabit in terms of download speed. And the best part of it, it is only $99. I don't think there is anything comparable in the market at the moment as it stands for Wi-Fi 7 at this price range and in terms of the speeds you're getting from this. So let me know your thoughts about the U7 Lite. Is this something that you would be switching over to? Is this going to be the access point that's going to push you over to Wi-Fi 7 if you haven't already made the switch? Or would you still be looking at something like the U7 Pro or the U7 Pro Max? The link to this product is down in the description below as well, so feel free to check it out and use the link if you are purchasing this. For now, this is Inside Wire, and I'll see you in the next one.